You are never alone. You are never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Another meeting and another series or another episode of family issues. Actually, in the previous episodes, we used to speak about problems that face the family or plans that we have to put in order to pass by life stages in order to reach a high quality family. This is usually our plan. Our plan in this program is to build a very skillful, high-quality family, putting in our minds that a family of people or the members of a family in human beings is characterized by the human relations, the feelings, the ways that we can express to each other our feelings and our needs and our pains. This is very important, and it's very specific and characteristic of a human being family. Maybe this is different from other types of families, from other kingdoms. And therefore, from the very good things that God gave us, thank God, thank enough that God gave us languages to speak to each other. And if you go around the world, you are going to find so many different languages, so many dialects, so many accents. But there is a very specific type of languages that's very important from the very beginning of life, and it was used, and we read about in all the histories. This type of language is different from words, different from letters, different from the verbal language. There are so many other non-verbal ways to communicate the feelings and to communicate what you feel or what you understand or what you want. One of these very important languages is the body language. Body language. Body language actually means simply the way that you can transfer informations or feelings or to communicate with others by other ways that are different from the words pronounced by the tongue, but still these languages or these words are pronounced through the body of a human being. So, on this basis, we can say that smiling is one word in this language. Frowning, putting my hand in a way or waving to someone who is going or coming, pushing someone, making by my fingers any sign, all these are signs of body language. And this became nowadays a very specific and very highly distributed science. And you find so many books nowadays, so many courses. I think that there are nowadays some faculties in universities that are teaching only body languages. So it was out of talk that we have to talk and speak about this type of languages if we are speaking about human beings and about families. And as we are speaking about raising the efficiency of a father or a mother or trying to make a high quality family, I think if you want to have a 5 or 7 stars father or a mother that is giving a high quality service, motherhood or fatherhood at the very end is nothing but a service. You can be classified or rated as a 3 stars parent or 2 stars parent or 7 stars parent. This depends on the quality of the service you deliver to your children or to those who are receiving this type of service. If you are any type of caregivers, maybe you are a teacher, maybe you are a doctor for children, maybe you are a father or a mother. In all these cases, you are serving some types of services. And of course, I think it's very important for anyone who is providing such types of services to be skillful in what we are speaking about today in this episode, which is the body language. And if we consider that the eye look, the way you look at someone, the way you smile by your mouth, the way the minute, the very minimal gesture of your face or nodding by your head is symbolizing something, and it's very important, and it means so many things to children. It affects their feelings. For example, if one of my children used to see me all the time looking at the other one, his sib or his brother, in an admiration eyes. Wow, you are marvelous. I didn't see such a guy in this carriage or in this beauty. Huh? The other one is used to seeing the others in this way. But when you look at him, you look in an angry eyes or disappointed ways that express that you are disappointed or you are not interested or you don't love him, and such types of impressions. This is very disappointing, really. And it means, to my mind, you are classified as a failing father. You are not a good father, you are a bad father. Why? Because you are not transmitting or infusing good feelings or positive feelings or concepts to your children. So at the end, you are going to have a result, a very bad result. You are going to have a child who is not that self-confident. Remember, one of your main functions as a parent is to be a self-confidence provider. One of the ways you provide self-confidence to children is not only saying in words, you are the perfect boy, you are a good man, you are an elegant girl. No, it's not this way. The way is, the main way is by the way you look to your child. So the eye look is very important. It's one of the alphabets of body language. So anyway, we have to focus today on all these alphabets, or some of them. And if I didn't finish all these alphabets today, I think we ought to have another episode about body language again. Therefore, if we are going to agree together to make criteria of high quality parent together, we have to put from the very beginning one of the most important criteria of quality parent or high quality caregiver is that he is skillful in body language. He knows how and when to smile. He knows how and when to admire with his eyes, looks. He knows when and how to frown with his face or to make himself appearing distracted or so. Every face gesture, every nodding, every part of my face or skin or body should be functionalized to serve at the right moment, the right way. Anyway, let's have a break and come to continue speaking about body language.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
In this program, inshallah, we'll be discussing the major sins in Islam, the way that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had taught us. Why the neighbor does not care about their neighbor anymore? Why does the father does not care about the son anymore? Why does the mother does not care about her daughter anymore? There's major sins that we need to be very far away in our lives, so we could get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obtain the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. As long as we commit those major sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not be too pleased from us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish those who commit those major sins. Keep away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden, and you'll be the closest worshipper to Allah Azza wa Jal. It is our duty for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep away from what Allah Azza wa Jal had forbidden. As when we commit those sins, especially those major sins, remember you are displeasing your Lord, and you are bringing upon the curse and the anger of your Lord upon you.
Why righteous companions? It is Islam that given us the sense of dignity. I love all of them in a way that you cannot imagine. That Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu would say something and the Quran would come down matching what he said. والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. Just compare what you did for Islam with just one of them.
Dear viewers, Hoda programs can be watched in the English section of the in-flight entertainment directory on board all Saudi airline flights, domestic and international. Sit back, relax and enjoy watching Hoda's entertaining and enlightening shows on your trip. Hoda wishes you a safe and successful journey. Hoda, a light in every home.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Welcome back in Family Issues, and today we're speaking about a very important topic, which is body language. Body language. First, let me give you our telephone numbers, because I want you, frankly, to join us and to share your opinions, your comments, or your questions about this very important part of our lives. The telephone is 002-02-3835-248 or 249, and the email is familyissues@huda.tv. Again, we are speaking about body language. If you are telling a story to your child and you want to teach him how to be a skillful person in transmitting his feelings, it's not only a matter of words. You shouldn't be mask-faced. You shouldn't be like a robot, because some people train their children to be like robots. They speak in a monotonous way, like TV speakers or presenters, and in the same time you find their faces, they are not having any gestures in their face. We call them mask-faced. Some people are like this, like wax. It's like a wax face that doesn't smile, doesn't frown, doesn't appear to be angry or happy. You cannot know. We used to have this actually in our oral examinations, when the examiner used to examine us, and I myself, when I knew now how to make a mask face when I examined some of my students, because I don't want to tell them whether the answers they are answering are right or wrong. So why not using during storytelling? If you can just show us this picture on the TV screen. If you are, for example, from the very beginning, the very start, you are speaking about stories. This boy is smiling, and there is another picture for the same boy. Now he is playing. All the pictures might show us that the feelings in the face, some people like mirror images. If all the time he finds his face, here he is having prayers, he is saying Allah, he is he's praying, and in the same time he is asking God for good things to have. So the point is, it's a matter of practice. I know so many mothers, not fathers even, who said to me, I know what you say, but I cannot do it. I cannot express this way. I don't like telling stories from the very beginning. So actually this makes us feel some sort of pity, because it's one of the good things that God gave to some people, and the charity of God to people is to let them be trained in expressing themselves by faces and by their whole body language, because it's a way to transmit love, to transmit good feelings and bad feelings. By the way, why not, when we are trying to tell stories to our children, that we teach them, especially those who are younger, I'm speaking about the preschool stage. If, for example, you symbolize, because I found so many of the countries are trying to teach children who cannot verbalize their words by making some signs that symbolize to other things. For example, let us say, for example, a child wants water, okay? So he makes his hands like this, like freaking his hands. This means the word water. I want water, okay? So, and if, for example, he wants to sleep, He can make like this. I want to sleep. Why do? Even if he is not until now pronouncing the word or the letters, he can make movements that resemble the thing he wants to express. For example, I'm cold, so he can hold himself like this. This means I can ask the child in this case, are you feeling cold? Okay? So it doesn't matter. For example, these symbols mean if you teach your child in this way, you have so many ways that you can make a new language, a new body language in a child. For example, some children want more to eat, for example. He can make his palm like this and say, I want more, I want more. Okay? This is not the sign language of those who are dumb. This is called infant body language. Infant body language. The point is that I want you to train your children from the very beginning that they can use other ways other than words, other than verbal ways to express themselves. Maybe this is much more famous in autistic children. Unfortunately, so many people think that this way, the sign ways, are only specific for children who are having special needs or having something like autism, for example, because those children cannot verbalize their needs or the feelings, so they try to use sign language by themselves. For example, when they want, for example, to go to the bathroom, they take the finger of their parents and lead them, or point towards what they want, but they cannot speak. Some children from the spectrum of autistic children do this. This is not what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about normal kids who are trying to step by step learn the verbal language, but in their way they can temporarily try to learn other types of languages, and this is not going to delay the normal verbal language. So, and by the way, to increase the intelligence of children, one of the most famous games that we used to do sometimes, not so many times I think, but if you systematize yourself to do this, this is going to increase their intelligence, is what's called the pantomime. The pantomime. In the pantomime case, you are trying to tell someone something, to guess, or to, and therefore you find some plays or some of the artistic presentations are used by pantomime, without words, without tones, just movements. So, for example, he wants to tell you that he's a doctor or something. He used to make a stethoscope and he is examining a child, or he is an engineer, so he's making that board of the engineers and the triangle. And so this way of playing, you know, we do this so many times. But remember, so many times reminds you with haphazardness, that there is no systematic plan. But if you plan in your mind that every day, for example, I'm going to make this game with my child. Every day we are going to make a pantomime game and let my children guess. We call this in our country here in Egypt and in so many Arabic countries, we call it my doll. This famous game is called my doll. Because when the one who is performing the game is, for example, acting, he's making, for example, this means that this is a film or a cinema, the other kids sitting around are going to say, my doll. This means that, what do you mean by this movement? Please give me other gestures or other body languages that help me to guess what do you mean by this. By the way, as we are speaking in Huda, this reminds me also that some of the religious specialists said that gestures sometimes may cause, you may commit errors or you may commit mistakes by just giving gestures. Some people think that I have to be called committing a mistake when I say a bad word about someone. No, you just maybe by an eye glimpse, or if you make some sort of movement, you can do something wrong, and God in this case is going to be angry about this because you are symbolizing something about someone which is not good. You want to say, for example, that this man is talkative, so you can by your hand make a movement that symbolizes this, but this is wrong actually from the religious point of view. I myself, when I teach in some of the places nowadays, you know, there is a new era in teaching skills. One of these skills is what's called active teaching. Active teaching means that you use your everything around you. You use everything and you use yourself, sign languages and body languages to transfer or to infuse the science or data or information to people. Not the original or the typical way of teacher who just holds the chalk and on the board says so and so and so, the fact is so and so and so, just in a way as if he is, dictating you something. So nowadays the points or these ways of or skills of training people are getting more improved. And therefore it's very or more important than teachers to be you yourself as a father or as a mother, or I think also as a husband or as a wife. You have to be skillful in such languages. You have, I think those who are loving each other, the couples, a husband and a wife, if they are skillful in having eye language, they can understand each other by eyes, just by eye look. And so many of our grannies until now say that when we were kids, our fathers or our mothers used just by eye look. When they looked in a way, they told us this means that they are angry. Stop doing so and so. Anyway, nowadays it's not that easy to do this. But you can do it. It's not impossible. Again, let me just focus on a very important thing, that the one-dimensional or the one-way language, which is the word language, nowadays, or it indicates or it reflects to my mind, an unskillful type of parents, or a parent who is skillful but not in this part. So why not? Why not we train ourselves to be skillful in making faces? Sometimes this reminds me with teachers who put stars or faces on the copybooks when someone makes something right or wrong. So you put a smiling face when you are happy. For example, if the child made a correct solution for a certain formula, for example, and they put frowning faces when they are not satisfied about the result. By the way, let me tell you, I'm not from those who agree about the idea of putting frowning faces on copybooks. Because, this is like documenting that you are a bad person in certain event or certain situation. Why? Why don't you all the time put smiling faces? If the child did something wrong, just don't put the smiling face. You understand me? Just don't put the smiling face. This is a punishment. Why should you put this frowning face? To document this or to register that this child, because I want my child, when he opens his copybook any day, even when he is going to be in a teenage or something after these years of study, he will see the good things he has done. And this is something like feedback, a positive feedback to raise his self-confidence and to make him stronger. But if you find that most of the documents before were full of red circles, bad comments from teachers, failure, this is not a good work, poor handwriting, you know these things which are used to be very enormous and copious in our copybooks of our children. Therefore you find doctors in their clinics hanging their certificates, the good things they have done. When you go to a restaurant or you go to a hotel, you find the picture and the comment about the finest or the highest quality of employee in this month. You don't find the worst one. They do not put the picture and say this is the worst employee in, for example, the channel or the restaurant this month. So it's very important. It's very important to focus on the good things in your child in order to be a positive parent, not to be a negative one, criticizing one, someone who is all the time filling his child with disappointment. So he's not satisfied. You are creating a child who is not satisfied about himself or about any other thing. All the time you are interested in looking at the negative things, criticizing. Why don't you raise your voice? Why don't you wear so and so? Why don't you speak in this way? Why you are poor in doing so and so? Why you yourself? I'm asking the parent. Why you yourself are doing this all the time? Why don't you be positive? Why don't you look at the positive aspects? This is very important in body language, I think. As I told you, one mother told me, I cannot be that skillful. I don't have this skill. You say body language and facial gestures and things like this. I'm not skillful in this. Why? Let us look at the stars or the actors in the cinema films, in the programs and whatever. They are very skillful. You can cry, for example, when you see one of the celebrities, actors, when he or she is crying because the story is about someone who has died and she loves him and so on, and you yourself cry because you were affected by the high feelings and the high way of expressing this non-verbal way of expressing the feelings. Can't you be an actor at your home? Can't you be an actor in your home? This is a very important skill to my mind. A good father has to be a good actor. This doesn't mean that we are frogs. I mean, we are doing things that we do not feel, or we are wearing masks all the time. This is not the point. But sometimes you have to do this. For example, your mother is very sad, and you want to make her interested, or you want to make her happier. Of course, you are showing the face of sympathy. You are sympathizing with her. But in the same time, you have to fill her with courage, and you have to tell her, you have to smile in her face, because this is infectious. This is infectious, and it's transmitted from someone to another by training. So it's very important to do this. Let us have a break and come. Maybe there is a telephone call, I'm sorry, from Egypt. Who with us? Noha, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you, Noha?
Fine, thank you, doctor.
Noha, do you have a comment or question?
Yes, I have a question, please.
Please go on.
Thank you. I have a 9-year-old boy.
Okay.
He refuses me to kiss or hug him, especially in front of other people.
Yeah.
Should I agree, or should I try to do that even if he refuses?
Thank you, Noha. Do you have any other questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, let me first ask you a question before we close.
Okay.
You yourself used to do, other than the hugging issue with your child, you used to use your face as a way of, as we are saying now in the episode, you used your face as a way of body language with your child?
Yes, of course.
Very
much.
You smile to him when you are happy, you frown when you are angry, and such things?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, a very important point was raised by Noha, to my mind. She says that her boy is 9 years old, and she tries to hug him, tries to express her feelings by the body. She puts him in her hug, but the child refuses. I think specifically when this is in front of other people. And he has his own motives to do this, and he has his own causes and reasons, because actually he is approaching, to my mind, the teenage. And in some cultures, like our culture, boys do not like to be treated like children. They consider this as if it's childish, specifically if the mother is the one who is hugging, not the father. I remember in my clinic that one mother told me her boy now is 29 years. She is coming to complain of so many things about him. But she remembers very well when I asked her, she said when he was at the end of the high school and the results came and he succeeded, and when she was going to the school, she wanted to hug him, but he was negative and he refused. She was very embarrassed. I asked her a question. She was very angry about this. I asked her a question. Were there other friends of him, or girls or boys around? She said, yes, of course. I said, well, take care that the boy may be feeling embarrassed in front of his colleagues, in front of his friends. So it doesn't mean that he doesn't like you or he doesn't want to be hugged. But you can do this at home, not in front of others. Maybe so many people hug their children, some of them accept, but this is not the usual. So this was a very good question from Noha. Thank you, Noha. And I want other comments if you have and other questions. Well, these questions and comments, I should hear these after the break. So let us have a break and come back.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Ask Hoda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have two questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can we give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity.
You have questions that bother you. What about issues of concern to you? Would you like to share things on your mind with us? Are you interested in solutions based on an Islamic perspective? Please join me live in Meet Your Advisor every Friday at 9 p.m. Mecca time, here on Huda TV.
You are never alone. You are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Family Issues, Body Language. This is the topic today. We are speaking about body language. This is an art. Let us confess that some people have this talent. Some people have the talent of body language. Not all the people, of course. And those who have this talent have to thank God so much. I know people who are sad because all the time when they see films or situations that affect their feelings, they cry, they get sad. They are so easily affected. Some of the mothers and some of the men told me, I cry just once I see a pose for a picture or a part of a film or a scene where, for example, someone's father has died or mother has died. I feel myself very sad and I cry at once. I cry at once. This is something good. This is not bad. You are, congratulations, you are a talented person. You have an active brain area in the limbic system. This is the specialized system for feelings in the human body, in the human brain, called the limbic system. This limbic system in such people who are active in feelings is very developed in such people. So congratulations, it's something good, it's not that bad. And the surprise is that some fathers found their children talented in this. It's too good to be my son. You are too good to be my son. Because I'm not that expressive, I'm not talented to that degree that I can express the feelings. And in this case also, I'm going to say to the children, to the boys or to the girls who have this talent, congratulations, my friends, and when you find yourself talented more than your father, more than your mother in expressing the feelings, then this is a very good sign. And in this case, you have to put yourself in the shoes of your father and don't be angry when you find him not that easily moved person. When you find him rough, not skillful as you. So don't shout at him, don't get angry and say, why don't you feel with me? Why don't you feel that I'm angry? No, he's not like you. And when I say your father, so what about other people? Your father cannot feel with you. He feels, by the way, he feels you, but he cannot express. There is so many differences a big difference between what you feel and what you express. Not everyone who cannot express doesn't feel. Remember this phrase. Not everyone who cannot express well doesn't mean that he's not feeling. When you find someone who is having a mask face when a relative or someone who is dear to you has died or is ill, and you find him not crying, this doesn't mean that he is not sad. He is sad, but he cannot express it. Okay. Again and again and again, I'm insisting on giving the daily capsule or the daily pill that every father should give to his son. This is storytelling. Storytelling. And this storytelling should be, or better to be, what's called the prophets' stories. Prophets' stories. Every day you can tell your child a new story about a prophet. So, let us have this telephone first and then continue. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Abdullah with me.
Yes, Dr.
From where, Abdullah, you are? From where?
From Cairo.
Cairo.
Yes, Egypt.
Abdullah, do you have any question or comment?
Yeah, actually I like this topic a lot, and I have a comment in a very few moments from my field of study, Islamic.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to just to refer that this issue of body language was tackled by Islam, few centuries ago.
That's right.
It was handled in the Quran in many verses, for example, as means of clarification in the story of Virgin Mary.
Yes.
She pointed to the Prophet Jesus when he was baby in the cradle, when her people asked, who is this? Or she pointed at him.
Yes, yes.
And also, hand was used as means of to refer, for example, for misery, yadu maghlula, or
yes,
thin
yes.
hand. And there is a verse called وَإِنْ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ وَلُمَزَةٍ.
Yes.
This body language was put in
marvelous,
terms of reward
marvelous.
and punishment.
Yeah.
And I actually, so quickly, I'd like to conclude with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He used to use this body language a lot. Like he used to point in terms of the person who take care of the orphan will be with him, and he pointed with his two fingers like this in order to give people the true meaning. In addition to, he used to intertwine or cross his fingers to refer to unity of Muslims in many other hadiths.
Yes, yes.
I like this topic.
Thank you very much, Abdullah, for this valuable, very valuable comment to my mind, because you guided us to, and this is very important issue for those students who are in faculties making masters or making PhDs about body language and its relation to Islam or its relation to prophets. Yes, if you heard what Abdullah said in his words, he commented or he gave us some examples of the Quranic verses or hadiths about using body language by celebrities or by prophets, and he gave so many good examples actually. And this is what I was going to speak about actually, that when you are speaking with your children and telling them stories about prophets, so many of the situations and so many of the scenes when you read about these stories, you can imagine how they used body languages. Let me, for example, tell you also that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, used to put his hand on the hair of the children generally, and specifically, as Abdullah said, on those orphan children. And he said that if you put your hand and just stroke the hair, every hair of them is going to give you about not less than 10 good qualities, and this helps you to go to paradise or to be in paradise. It's the mercy. It's the symbols of mercy. And as Abdullah said, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, used to say, those who care about orphans are just beside me in paradise. And he used this way of body language. He said, like these two fingers, like these, the middle and the index fingers. He's very near to me. So actually using Prophet's stories is, I think, to my mind, is having a mega vitamin or omega benefits to the child, because you are telling him practical religious stories. So this helps him to be raised in a good way, of course. It broadens his mind and increases his way of imagination. Why not, by the way, when you are, for example, saying a story about, as I've said, about Prophet Muhammad, or about anyone who cares about someone and he is stroking his hair, and you used to do this yourself by your child who is sitting beside you. I mean, for example, this is my child and I'm telling the story and I'm expressing, I'm saying, and then the man put his hand on the hair of the very miserable and said, and poor child, and he used to stroke, and you yourself do this on your child. This helps the bonding relation between you and your child, and lets the child feel secure, very interested in the story, and for sure, if he didn't use this to help him in his, after this story, this time, in the next time, if you repeat this story again, and you make the same movements or gestures, he is going to learn. And I think also this infuses mercy and infuses love. It's transferred from a body to another body. Love is like bottles. By the way, did you hear about the expression bottled feelings? Bottled feelings? Did you hear about bottled feelings? Bottled feelings, those are people who are not expressing. One woman told me, my husband is bottled feel. His feelings are bottled. He is all the time closing the bottle, and when he feels that he wants something, or he wants anything from me, or he wants to order me with something, he opens the bottle and fill some of the feelings or smiles and then close the bottle. This is very bad, because it lets you think that it's something like commerce, something like this in front of that. And actually, feelings are not in this way. They are not used to be in this way. It's not a matter of you give me this and I give you a smile. You give me this and I give you a kiss. You give me this and I hug you. It's not like this. This is not a relation in a family. This is not a good way or style or quality of family relation or bondings between the family members. We have to teach our children to be gentle with each other. You have to teach your boy child to be gentle with his sister. And this is, this is mentioned in some of the, to my mind, I read one of the hadiths by Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, which insists or teaches the parent to train his child to be gentle with his sister. The words of the hadith I can translate to my mind. It's that if someone went to the market and he bought a toy and came back to his children with the toy and gave it to them, this is like someone who gives a charity to someone who is in severe need for this charity. You helped him. And the second part of the hadith says, and please start with the girls before the boys. It's those who are speaking about etiquette, those who are speaking about the highest qualities of training courses, they have to teach and to learn at the same time this hadith, which tells them, try to be gentle, try to teach your boy child from now on, through stories, through games, through toys, to respect his sister when, for example, they are going to ride a bus, for example, he has to stay until his sister goes up and then he comes after her. This is gentleness. By the way, the word gentleness was mentioned in Quran. I'm not a religious specialist, but I use by my specialty in behavioral and psychological sciences to be interested in the words mentioned in Quran and in any book about psychology. In the Al-Kahf, in the Surah Al-Kahf, in one of the verses, the 19th verse, the verse says, وَلْيَتَلَطَّفْ وَلَا يُشْعِرَنَّ بِكُمْ أَحَدًا. This means, and he should be gentle in order not to let other people feel that he is doing something wrong. So, remember this word, be gentle. Be gentle, and you can transfer Gentleness not just by words, also by deeds, by gestures. You can, for example, see your child very afraid, but by your facial gestures, you can let him feel calm. Hey boy, what's going on? Never mind. Why you are so anxious? Everything is going to be all right. And take him in your hug and squeeze him to let the feelings of and emotions of security go inside him. This is the function of you as a father. You are the one who fills security. This is one of your functions, one of the most important functions of a parent or a father, to fill security in his child. And body language is one way of filling the security. It's a very important way. We have another telephone call. Saniya from where? From Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Saniya. What's your opinion about this topic, the body language, in our episode?
Actually, I have a question.
Please go on.
Yes. You know, between boys and girls, we can teach them how to respect each other.
Please, Saniya, raise your voice again, please. I can't hear the question.
Hello.
I hear you now. Please go on.
Sometimes, you know.
Sometimes I what? Maybe the telephone call was... We are waiting for you, Saniya, if you can call us again. Let me continue speaking about your duties as a father or as a mother or as a caregiver. By the way, the word caregiver, nowadays I'm very sad. I'm myself very sad because I see teachers and in the nurseries, the kids, the kindergartens, the place where mercy and love should be filling. Unfortunately, you find rough teachers, miserable trainers. The caregivers are not taught educational ways of raising children. And therefore, it's a tragedy. It's a crisis. What I see nowadays in kindergartens in so many countries, it's a scandal. Using corporeal ways of punishment, corporal punishment, sticks and tools used to punish children. One of the ways of punishment, to let the child put the bag full of books, raise it up, and just stand like this in a child. What about the vertebral column of this child? What about the health of this child? What about the psychology? The scandal to stand up in front of other children in the KGs, and in front of his friends, and in front of his colleagues, boys and girls. And you are raising the bag. It's very unhuman. It's very unhuman to make a child do this in front of his children in the very beginning, the first experience in schools, to be treated in this humiliating way. Body language, my friends, is a very important and very necessary tool in the hands of caregivers to create or to make a skillful and a good native person in his country or in any part of the world. Please do not lose the chance, because time is passing rapidly. You have to train your child to smile well, to put his hand on poor people, to help them. The touch, it's the touch. Nowadays in medicine, there is type of medicine that's called touch therapy. Touch therapy. Some people are in need of touch. Do not let your child get out of this family or graduate from this family and he is extremely hungry, not to food. You are making him drown in food and money, but not in body language. So at the first step out of the door, outdoors, the first hug is going to be opened and he's going to jump inside it, whatever this hug is. Even if it was a fox or it was someone bad, he is going to eat your child because he is in need of this. And you can therefore hear so many stories about abuses, sexual abuses. This is another topic. I think time is over, and I think we have, unfortunately, to leave you now. But before I leave you, remember so many times the idea of body language and how it is necessary as a tool in raising our children. Thank you very much for following us, and next time we'll meet you in another issue, in family issues. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home. And always remember that you are never alone.